Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful, peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose life is a shining example of calmness, patience and trust. My dear brothers and sisters, today I want to remind you of something your heart already knows, but the noise of this dunya often makes you forget. You were not created for this world. You were not created to be defined by how much money you make, how many followers you have, or what people say about your success. You were not created to chase validation, likes, titles, or applause. Allah tells us very clearly, "And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me." Surah Ad-Dariyat 51-56. You were created for Allah, you were created for Akhirah, for a life that begins when this temporary one ends. But this dunya, this fleeting world wants to distract you. It wants to label you, mold you, consume you. It wants to define your worth by superficial metrics, your appearance, your career, your social standing. And when you fail by its standards, it tells you, you are not enough. But Allah never said that. The Prophet never said that. In fact, our beloved Messenger told us, "Verily, Allah does not look at your appearance or wealth, but rather He looks at your hearts and actions." Sahih Muslim 2564. Subhanallah. Your worth in Allah's sight is not your job title. It's not your designer clothes or your car or your connections. It is your heart and it is your faith. And so the real question becomes, do you define yourself by this temporary world or by the one who created you for eternity? Sometimes trials come not to break you but to wake you, to remind you that you are not made for comfort here. The difficulty you are facing is not proof that Allah is displeased with you. The heartbreak, the loss, the delay, the rejection, it's not punishment. It might just be the path to your highest place in Jannah. Let me remind you of the people Allah loved the most, the prophets. Did they live in mansions? Were they surrounded by applause and riches and comforts? No, indeed, we tested those before them, and Allah will certainly make known those who are true, and He will certainly make known the liars. Surah Al-Ankabut 29:3. This life is a test, and you are not defined by your trials. You are defined by how you respond to them. With sabr, with tawakkul, with iman. Even Maryam alayha salam, the most honored woman in Islam, felt the weight of her trial. When she was in labor, alone, under the palm tree, what did she say? "Oh, I wish I had died before this and was in oblivion forgotten." Surah Maryam 19:23. Yet Allah brought relief. From her pain came the miracle of Isa, peace be upon him. From her isolation came elevation. So don't let your pain define you. Let your faith in Allah define you. Let your patience refine you. Let your hope realign you. My beloved, we live in a world that idolizes success, but Allah defines success differently. It's not the applause of creation, it's the pleasure of the Creator. And sometimes He delays your victory to build your character. He removes what you love so that your heart doesn't cling to anything but Him. He closes doors to protect you. He tests you so He can purify you. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits, but give glad tidings to the patient. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:155. Glad tidings, not despair, because your trial is not the end, it's the bridge to your triumph. Look at Yusuf alayhi salam. He was thrown in a well, sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned, and then what? He rose, not just to freedom, but to leadership. And he said, "Indeed, my Lord is subtle in what He wills." Surah Yusuf 12:100. That's the secret, isn't it? Allah is subtle. You don't always see the wisdom, but you hold on. You keep your faith. You trust that what seems like a detour might actually be the road to your destiny. And here's what the dunya will never understand. True power is in surrender. True strength is in sajda. You want to be unstoppable in this world? Then anchor yourself to the one who never moves. You want freedom? Stop letting people's opinions chain you. You want success? Redefine it through Allah's eyes. You want peace? Stop chasing it in places where Allah has not placed it. The Prophet said, "Whoever makes the hereafter his goal, Allah makes his heart rich, arranges his affairs, and the world comes to him reluctantly." Sunan Ibn Majah 4105 Hassan. Subhanallah. When you stop chasing the dunya and turn your face to Allah, the dunya starts chasing you. Because now you're aligned with your purpose. And so, if today you feel broken, lost, overlooked, or forgotten, remember Allah is writing your story, and the same pen that wrote hardship has written ease. The same pen that allowed tears will write your healing. The same pen that tested you will soon deliver your triumph. But only if you don't let the dunya define you, only if you rise from trial to triumph with pearls of faith, faith in Allah. My dear sister, my dear brother, don't just survive your test. Use it, grow through it, trust Allah through it, because the fire that feels like it will burn you down may be the very fire that purifies your soul and lifts you closer to Allah. So surely with hardship comes ease. Surely with hardship comes ease. Surah Ash-Shar 94:5-6. My beloved soul, let me tell you something your heart has been aching to hear. You are not behind. You are exactly where Allah wants you to be. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak is not a punishment, it's preparation. But the dunya will never tell you that. The dunya will try to convince you that you're too late, that you've missed your chance, that others are ahead and you're forgotten. But Allah never forgets you for a moment. And your Lord is never forgetful. Surah Maryam 1964. Do you hear that? Even when you feel lost in a crowd, invisible, unheard, your Lord sees you. He knows what you whispered in the dark, the tears that no one else noticed. He knows the weight you carry, and He promises, indeed with hardship will be ease. Surah Ash-Shar 94:6. But here's what many of us miss. The ease doesn't always come after the hardship. Sometimes it's within it. Sometimes the ease is the closeness to Allah you gain when everything else is taken from you. Do you remember the story of Ayub alayhi salam? A prophet who had everything, health, wealth, children, respect, and then one by one it was all taken. His body was covered in disease, his children died, his wealth disappeared, even his friends left him. Yet his heart remained unwavering. He didn't define himself by what he lost. He defined himself by who he belonged to. And when he finally called out, indeed adversity has touched me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful. Surah Al-Anbiya 21:83. That was enough. He didn't even ask to be healed. He just remembered Allah's mercy. And in return, Allah restored him, his health, his wealth, his family, and more. But the true treasure Ayub has received wasn't in this world. It was in the unshakable faith that came from knowing who he was, a servant of Allah. You see, when you define yourself by dunya, you become fragile. Because the dunya is fragile, jobs end, beauty fades, people change, money comes and goes. But when you define yourself by Allah, you become anchored. Because Allah is Al-Hayy, the ever-living. He is Al-Qayyum, the sustainer. He is Al-Wadud, the most loving. And He never abandons those who trust Him. The Prophet said, be mindful of Allah and He will protect you. Be mindful of Allah and you will find Him before you. If you ask, then ask Allah. If you seek help, then seek help from Allah. Tirmidhi 25:16. Hassan, let that sink in. You're never alone. You're never without help, but you have to stop defining yourself by your resume, your degree, your relationship status, or your bank account. You are not a failure because the world doesn't applaud you. You are not broken because you've been through trials. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are human, and your pain is valid. But your pain is also a path if you walk it with Allah. My dear sister, my dear brother, there's something I need you to understand. This life is not the destination. It's a bridge. And no one builds their home on a bridge. Yet that's what we do when we let the dunya define us. We invest our entire identity in a world that is temporary. But Allah reminds us, know that the life of this world is but amusement and diversion and adornment, and boasting to one another, and competition in increase of wealth and children. But what is the enjoyment of worldly life compared to the hereafter except a very little? Surah Al-Hadid 57:20. We chase titles. We obsess over appearances. We compare our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reels. And we end up exhausted, insecure, and disconnected from our true purpose. Let go of the need to be validated by creation and reconnect to your Creator. Let's be real. The dunya is loud. It screams expectations at you. Be this. Achieve that. Look like her. Speak like him. Post more. Earn more. Prove yourself. But the voice of the Quran is still. It whispers gently to your heart, reminding you of what really matters. And when everything feels like it's falling apart, perhaps it's falling into place. Because the things that are removed are often the barriers between you and Allah. The Prophet said, whoever Allah intends good for, He afflicts him with trials. Bukhari 56:45. Subhanallah, what the dunya calls failure, Allah might call favor. What people mock you for, Allah might raise you through. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is Allah trying to teach me through this? You may not be where you want to be, but you are not where you used to be. Every tear, every prayer, every moment of patience, it's writing your story. And with Allah, every chapter has meaning, even the one that's breaking you right now. Indeed, Allah is with the patient. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:153. My beloved, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep turning to the one who already does. And never let this fleeting world tell you who you are. Let Allah tell you. Let your soul remember its origin, because once you root your identity in Him, no rejection, no failure, no storm can shake you. My dear brothers and sisters, there comes a moment in every believer's life when the soul aches not for more of the dunya, but for a return to something deeper, something eternal. And in that moment, Allah places within your heart a whisper, a call, not from this world but from the fitwa you were born with. The part of you that knows, I was created for more than this. That's not weakness, that's awakening, that's not failure, that's fadl, the grace of Allah guiding you back. Because sometimes we spend so long building our identity around people, around status, around the roles we play, that we forget who we truly are. Abdullah, Amatullah, a servant of the most merciful. The dunya is loud, my beloved. It's seductive. It offers you glitter but never gold. It promises fulfillment but delivers restlessness. You climb the ladder only to find it leaning against the wrong wall. And then, when you fall, the world doesn't catch you. But do you know who does? And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the call of the supplicant when he calls upon me. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:186 is near. He doesn't just hear your voice. He hears your silence. He doesn't just know your pain. He counts your tears. He doesn't just see your effort. He records it even when the world doesn't. Don't let this temporary world tell you that your worth is measured by how others see you, because Allah sees what no one else does. Indeed, your effort will be seen. Surah At-Takathur 92:4. Let that verse wrap around your heart. The times you cried in sujood, the nights you stayed up begging for a way out, the moments you chose patience when you wanted to scream, the days you showed up for others while breaking inside. None of it was lost. None of it was wasted. None of it went unnoticed. Because your value is not in the outcome, it's in the intention, the struggle, the sincerity, and this is the secret of the believer. Even when they lose in the dunya, they are winning with Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, the world might define success by trophies, wealth, fame, and applause. But your Lord defines success by something else. He says, whoever is removed from the fire and admitted to paradise, he indeed is successful. Surah Al-Imran 3:185. That is the real success. Not a blue check mark, not a million followers, not validation from people who don't even know your soul, but Jannah, peace that doesn't end, joy that doesn't fade, a home with no heartbreak, no rejection, no exhaustion, and the smile of your Lord upon you. That is what you were made for. But to reach that place, you'll have to pass through storms. You'll have to learn to walk while your heart is heavy. You'll have to keep praying even when the answers feel delayed. But every step you take toward Allah, He runs to you. The Prophet told us, when he comes to me walking, I go to him at speed. Sahih Muslim 2675. So don't stop. Don't stop just because you feel unseen. Don't give up just because your life doesn't look like theirs. Their highlight reel is not your measuring stick. You are on a different path. A path of depth, of refinement, of divine love. And that path often looks lonely, quiet, slow, but it leads to the eternal garden. You see, when Allah loves someone, He doesn't always give them more comfort. Sometimes He gives them more tests. Why? Because hardship removes the illusion. It strips away the distractions, and it returns you to the one who never leaves. And rely upon the ever-living who does not die. Or Surah Furqan 25:58. When the world betrays you, rely upon Him. When your heart is exhausted, rest it with Him. When your soul is bleeding, heal it with His words. The Quran is not just a book, it is a mirror, a medicine. and a map back to yourself and to your Lord. So today I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to have all the answers. I'm asking you to realign, to pause, to look in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I trying to please? What am I chasing? And is it worth the price of my soul? Because if you let the dunya define you, it will confuse you. It will exhaust you. It will leave you spiritually bankrupt. But if you let Allah define you, you will walk through the world with peace in your chest. Even if you have nothing, you will feel rich. Even if you're tested, you will stand strong. Because, this world is not home. It's just the journey, my dear brothers and sisters. Sometimes the greatest tragedy in life is not losing wealth, health, or status. It's losing ourselves while chasing them. We were not created to be consumed by this dunya. We were created to rise above it, to walk through it with our heads bowed only in sujood and our hearts attached not to palaces or people, but to the throne of Ar-Rahman. But what happens when the weight of this world becomes too heavy to carry? What happens when rejection breaks your heart? When failure haunts your every step? When comparison poisons your peace? When you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the person staring back? That's when you must remember, you are not who this dunya says you are. You are who Allah says you are. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not your broken marriage. You are not your failed business. You are not your illness, your trauma, or your past. You are a soul crafted by the hands of Ar-Rahman. You are honored, not because of your worldly status, but because Allah chose you to be from the Ummah of Muhammad. And we have certainly honored the children of Adam. Surah Al-Isra 1770. Subhanallah, the dunya may overlook you, but Allah already honored you before you were even born. So don't shrink yourself to fit into the boxes this world gives you. Don't bleach your soul trying to meet the filters and expectations of a temporary audience. Let your soul breathe in the light of Tawheed and the peace that comes from saying, Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for me, and He is the best disposer of affairs, my beloved. There is no shame in being broken. You see, we live in a world that glorifies the image of strength, of independence, of never showing weakness. But in our deen, the most beloved moments are the ones when we break before Allah. When we say, Ya Allah, I can't anymore. Ya Allah, I'm tired. Ya Allah, I don't know what's next, but I trust you. And that is not weakness, that is power. That is the heart of real tawakkul. Because the one who surrenders to Allah has nothing to fear. When the heart is anchored in Allah, it doesn't drown in the storms of this world. But whoever puts his trust in Allah, then He is sufficient for him. Surah At-Talaq 65:3. That one ayah is a lifeline, a rescue rope for the soul that is slipping under the weight of anxiety, comparison, deadlines, heartbreak, and the ever-tightening grip of dunya. He is sufficient. Even when people walk away, even when plans fall apart, even when your heart is bleeding and no one sees, He is sufficient. Let me tell you a secret. Some of your biggest blessings will come disguised as delays, rejections, or losses. You wanted something so badly, you made dua for it with tears in your eyes. You prayed istikhara, you waited, and then it slipped away, not because Allah didn't hear, but because He heard what your heart could not say. Because He knew what you didn't know. Perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not. Surah Al-Baqarah 206. Allah doesn't just answer your du'as, He answers the silent needs of your soul, even when you ask for what will harm it. That's not rejection, that's rahmah. My dear brothers and sisters, we must unlearn what the dunya teaches us about worth. Your worth is not tied to your productivity, it's not in your achievements or your beauty or your applause. Your worth is in your taqwa. Your worth is in your heart that cries at Fajr, that longs for Laylatul Qadr, that shivers when it hears the name of Ar-Rahim, and that still raises its hands to the sky, even after being broken again and again. The Prophet said, Verily, Allah does not look at your appearance or your wealth, but He looks at your hearts and your deeds. Sahih Muslim 2564. So if your heart is still alive, if your heart still trembles at the Quran, if your eyes still fill with tears when you hear the name of Rasulullah, then you are already successful. Don't rush your healing, don't force your growth. Even the moon has phases. Even the rose blooms after surviving the darkness of the soil. You are being reshaped through the hardship. Your identity is being carved not by your losses, but by how you rise through them. You were never meant to be defined by this world. You were meant to define your journey through your faith. So let the dunya think you're behind. Let them underestimate you. Let them define success by a scale that your heart refuses to bow to. You are not here to impress people. You are here to worship Allah. You are here to leave behind not a legacy of likes, but a legacy of light. You are here to take every trial and transform it into triumph. Not through arrogance, but through ikhlas. Not through chasing the world, but through chasing the pleasure of your Lord. My dear brothers and sisters, how many of us are quietly drowning beneath the surface of a perfect smile? How many of us walk through this world carrying burdens that no one else sees? Grief, fear, uncertainty, loneliness, while the world only demands one thing from us: perform, achieve, succeed. But here's the beautiful truth. Allah doesn't ask you to perform. He asks you to be sincere. He doesn't measure your worth by how loud your success is, but by how quietly your heart returns to Him when no one is watching. When you are overlooked by people, it does not mean you are overlooked by your Lord. When you are uncelebrated by the dunya, remember, Allah does not need a crowd to honor you. He elevates whom He wills, not by what they possess, but by what they sacrifice. Not by how much they are praised, but by how much they surrender. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Surah Al-Hujurat 49:13. That is your compass, not popularity, not productivity, not performance, but taqwa, that quiet, trembling awareness of your Creator in every moment. My beloved, some of the most powerful people in our history were not the ones who ruled empires or built monuments. They were the ones who knelt in sujood at night when the world was asleep, the ones who whispered broken du'as between sobs, the ones who kept showing up for Allah when life gave them every excuse to walk away. When you read the Quran, you'll notice something. The heroes in its pages, Yusuf, Musa, Maryam, Ayub, Yunus, peace be upon them, they weren't defined by ease. They were defined by struggle and by the steadfastness that bloomed through it. Allah never tells us their stories to entertain us. He tells them to remind us. You are not alone in your pain. You are not forgotten in your silence. You are not failing because you are hurting. Even Maryam, peace be upon her, the most honored woman in Jannah, felt the weight of despair. She cried out beneath the palm tree, "Oh, I wish I had died before this and was in oblivion, forgotten." Surah Maryam 19:23. And yet, Allah answered her with water, shade, provision, and dignity. He didn't scold her. He didn't turn away. Because your emotions, your sorrow, your exhaustion, they don't distance you from Allah. They bring you closer when you use them to return to Him. My dear brothers and sisters, you don't have to be unshakable to be beloved by Allah. You just have to be real. You just have to keep turning back again and again and again. Even if you've fallen 1,000 times, even if you've spent years chasing the wrong things, even if your heart is layered with mistakes, because Allah doesn't look for perfection, He looks for repentance. Say, "O my servants who have transgressed against themselves by sinning, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins." Surah Az-Zumar 39:53. Let that ayah be the light that breaks your darkness. Let it be the reminder that no matter how far you've gone, there is a road back, and it's paved with nothing but His mercy. You don't have to climb mountains to reach Him. You just need to bow your head in sincerity. And yes, the dunya will tempt you to forget. It will tell you that healing is found in success, that peace is found in possessions, that identity is found in labels. But all of it is fleeting. The clothes wear out, the applause dies down, the recognition fades, and you're left with the only thing that ever mattered, your heart, and its connection to the one who made it. So don't let your self-worth ride the waves of people's opinions. Don't allow society to shrink your soul to something that fits inside a resume or a highlight reel. You are not a brand, you are a believer, you are not an algorithm. You are Abdullah, Amatullah, a servant of the Most High. When you walk through this life carrying faith, you may walk alone at times. You may be misunderstood. You may lose friends. You may miss out on trends. You may be mocked for your modesty or laughed at for your principles. But know this, you are not walking without purpose. You are walking a path lit by prophets. You are treading the same soil as the ones whom Allah loved most. And every tear, every struggle, every lonely night, it is witnessed, it is written, it is rewarded. So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it. Surah Az-Zalzala 99:7. So even the things no one else claps for, the choice to lower your gaze, the courage to forgive, the patience to wait, the strength to walk away from sin, they are all heavy with reward in the sight of Allah. And the beauty is, the world doesn't need to see your triumphs, because your Lord already does. He sees your brokenness and calls it beautiful when it brings you back to Him. He sees your effort and multiplies it beyond what you could imagine. So even when nothing seems to be changing on the outside, even when life still feels hard, when prayers still go unanswered, when the weight still sits on your chest, know that something is changing. You are being shaped, refined, strengthened, drawn nearer to the one who wrote your story in wisdom and in love. My dear brothers and sisters, there is something profoundly beautiful in walking through pain and still choosing to worship, something sacred in the way a believer holds on while everything around them is falling apart, because there is a kind of strength that doesn't roar. It whispers in the silence of the night, in the tears shed between ayat, in the sajda that lingers when no one is watching. This world will often mistake that kind of strength for weakness. But Allah knows, Allah sees, and Allah elevates. And be patient, for indeed Allah does not allow to be lost the reward of those who do good. Surah Hud 11:1-15. Subhanallah, He doesn't let a single sigh go unnoticed, not a single heartbeat of longing for Him, not a single effort, no matter how hidden, goes unrecorded. So what does that mean for you and me? It means that when you walk into your job feeling invisible, Allah sees you. When you're raising children, changing diapers, cleaning dishes, and no one says thank you, Allah sees you. When you choose to bite your tongue instead of argue, when you forgive even though it hurts, when you keep praying even when you feel numb, Allah sees you. And isn't that enough? To be seen by the one who holds the heavens and the earth, indeed your Lord is ever over them an observer. Surah Al-Fajr 89:14. This is what frees the soul from the prison of people's approval. This is what anchors the heart when the winds of dunya try to shake it. Because once your identity is rooted in Allah, you no longer need validation from anyone else. But here's the part many don't talk about. Sometimes it hurts. It hurts to be the one who takes the high road. It hurts to walk away from what everyone else is chasing. It hurts to stay patient when your heart is screaming for ease. And that's okay. The Prophet, the most beloved to Allah, was not spared this pain. He lost loved ones. He was insulted, rejected, betrayed. He wept, he bled, he grieved. But he also trusted. He trusted that the one who took care of him as an orphan would not abandon him in his mission. He trusted that even when the people of Ta'if stoned him, Allah's mercy was greater than their cruelty. He trusted that his value did not depend on how the world treated him, but on how Allah honored him. Did He not find you an orphan and give you refuge? Surah Ad-Duha 93:6. That same Lord who carried the Prophet is the one carrying you now, my dear brothers and sisters. This dunya was never meant to fulfill you. It was designed to awaken your longing for something greater, purer, eternal. Every disappointment here is a gentle push. Every heartbreak is a redirection. Every loss is a divine reminder. There is nothing here worth anchoring your heart to. And that's why Allah, in His infinite wisdom, places trials in your path, not to break you, but to build you, to empty your hands of this world, so He can fill your heart with Him. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger, and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits. But give glad tidings to the patient. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:155. Glad tidings not just after the test, but within it. Because the test itself becomes the turning point. The struggle becomes the path to intimacy with your Lord. Let us not forget what truly defines us. Not the roles we play, not the careers we pursue, not the labels the world assigns to us, but the one thing no one can ever take from us, our connection to Allah. Because the day will come when titles fade, when faces wrinkle, when the spotlight dims, and we stand not in front of an audience, but in front of Al-Alim, the all-knowing. On that day, it won't matter who followed us, who liked us, who praised us. What will matter is whether we live for the dunya or whether we live for Allah. So today I ask you, gently, lovingly, deeply, who are you when the lights are off, when the applause is gone, when no one is watching? That is the version of you that matters, the version that cries out to Allah in the stillness of the night. the version that falls but keeps getting back up, the version that believes even when the world says, give up. That is the soul Allah loves, because faith isn't proven in ease. It's revealed in hardship, it's refined in fire, it's strengthened in the silence between heartbreak and hope. So whoever hopes for the meeting with his Lord, let him do righteous work and not associate in the worship of his Lord anyone. Surah Al-Kahf 18:110. Let your hope be in that meeting. Let your life be shaped around it. Let your dreams stretch beyond this world into the gardens of forever. My dear brothers and sisters, do you know what it means to carry light in your chest? It's not a life without wounds. It's not a story without struggle. It is a heart that, despite the storms, continues to beat with hope in Allah. A heart that still whispers, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, even when the path ahead is dark. You see, when you live in a world that constantly demands performance, perfection, and validation, you begin to forget that your worth was never meant to be earned by this world. Your worth was written by Ar-Rahman long before you were born. We have certainly created man in the best of stature. Surah At-Tin 95:4. Not because of your wealth, not because of your resume, not because of how many people notice your success, but simply because He made you and He chose you to know Him, to love Him, to walk back to Him. But the path to Allah isn't without trials. In fact, the closer you walk toward Him, the more the dunya may resist you. Not because Allah wants to harm you, never, but because He wants to purify you, to polish your heart until it reflects only His light, to remove every attachment that distracts you from your eternal destination. So if today you feel like you're losing parts of your old life, if you feel like things are being stripped away, doors are closing, relationships are falling apart, pause, breathe, reflect. Maybe it's not destruction, maybe it's redirection, maybe it's not rejection, maybe it's protection. Because the one who created you knows what your soul needs, even when you don't. And your Lord creates what He wills and chooses, not for them was the choice. Surah Al-Qasas 28:68. This is what surrender looks like, not passive defeat, but a powerful inner knowing that Allah's plan is greater than our desires. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most dangerous traps of the dunya is comparison. We scroll, we compare, we consume curated snapshots of people's lives, and we start to believe that their highlight reel is our measuring stick. But the truth is, what you see is never the whole story. And even if it were, Allah never asked you to compete with anyone else. He only asked you to be authentic with Him. So race to all that is good. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:148. Not race to beauty, not race to wealth, not race to social status, but race to goodness, race to sincerity, race to truth, and everyone's race looks different. For one person, it's showing up to Fajr on time. For another, it's putting down their phone to be present with their children. For someone else, it's walking away from a toxic relationship. For the sake of Allah, each soul has its own mountain to climb. And Allah, in His mercy, does not compare your footsteps to anyone else's. He sees your effort, not your outcome. That man can have nothing but what he strives for. Surah An-Najm 53:39. So stop letting this world rush you. Stop letting the noise of the dunya define your pace, your purpose, your value. Sometimes the deepest growth happens in stillness, in the quiet surrender at 2 a.m., in the empty moments when you have nothing left but dua. That's where the pearls of faith are born. Because faith is not loud, it's not always visible, it's not always applauded, but it's real, and it shows in the way you choose tawakkul when you want to give up, in the way you keep praying, even when you don't feel a response, in the way you carry your pain, but don't let it define you. That's the triumph of a believer. And here's what the dunya doesn't understand. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let go of chasing, let go of proving, let go of being seen, and turn inward, where the soul meets the divine, where silence is not emptiness, but presence, where nothing is missing, because Allah is enough. Is not Allah sufficient for His servant? Surah Az-Zumar 39:36. Say it again. Is not Allah sufficient? Then why do we break ourselves trying to earn what was never meant to last? Why do we spend our lives looking for love, status, or safety in places that were never built to hold them? The more we seek from the dunya, the more it disappoints. But the more we seek from Allah, the more He fills our hearts with a peace that no one can take away. So if you are in a season of loss, trust that there is gain. If you are in a season of waiting, trust that there is wisdom. If you are in a season of silence, trust that there is mercy, because Allah is not absent. He is working within you, around you, for you, even when you can't see it. The world may never understand your journey. They may look at your hijab and say you're oppressed. They may look at your patience and call it weakness. They may look at your simplicity and call it failure. But that's because they measure through dunya, while you live for akhirah. So walk gently, but carry your purpose like a torch. Let the fire of your trials become the light that leads others home. Let your heart rise again and again, refined by struggle, protected by dhikr, and adorned with the pearls of faith. My dear brothers and sisters, if there is one truth I want you to carry with you beyond these words, it is this. You were not made for this world. You were not created to break under the weight of its expectations. You were not sent here to chase a version of success that disappears with time. You were created for something eternal. You were created by the one who knows your heart, who understands your silence, who catches every tear long before it falls. And He, Allah Al-Wadud, has never defined you by your status, your wealth, or the labels others give you. He defines you by the purity of your intention, the quiet of your surrender, and the whispers of your faith when no one is listening. So much of our pain comes from forgetting who we are. When we look for our identity in people, in achievements, in images, we always come up empty, because no matter how far we run, how hard we try to fit in, how deeply we strive for validation from others, the heart was made to belong to Allah, and until it rests in Him, it will always feel restless. Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28. This is the quiet secret the dunya won't tell you. That peace is not something you find out there. It's something you awaken within, through connection, through remembrance, through surrender, my beloved. What if the pain you're feeling isn't here to punish you, but to purify you? What if the closed doors, the unanswered prayers, the long nights weren't signs of rejection, but of redirection? What if Allah is not holding you back, but pulling you closer? Because sometimes Allah removes what you thought you needed, only to give you what your soul truly needed all along, Him. So don't let this dunya tell you that you're not enough because you're not married yet. Don't let it reduce you because your business failed or your plans changed. Don't let it convince you that you are behind, forgotten, or broken. You are exactly where Allah wants you to be for your growth, not for your punishment. Every hardship you've walked through, every loss you've endured, every moment you've spent on your knees in sujood has been seen, recorded, and is valued by the one who never overlooks a single deed. There is such nobility in walking through this life with your gaze on the akhirah, because the dunya tells you, prove yourself, but the akhirah tells you, purify yourself. The dunya tells you, be seen, but the akhirah tells you, be sincere. The dunya tells you, build your brand, but the akhirah tells you, build your soul. You were never meant to be exhausted trying to earn a place in the hearts of people. You were meant to find peace by earning nearness to Allah. And when that becomes your goal, you move differently. You stop measuring success by material. You stop chasing people who were never meant to hold your heart. You stop shrinking yourself just to fit into this world, because you realize this world is not your final destination. Every soul will taste death, and you will only be given your full compensation on the day of resurrection. So he who is drawn away from the fire and admitted to paradise has attained true success. Surah Al-Imran 3:185. Let those words awaken something deep inside you. True success is not in being remembered here. It's in being forgiven there. My dear brothers and sisters, you are not a sum of your mistakes. You are not defined by the chapters you wish never happened. You are not disqualified by the pain you've endured. In fact, your greatest wounds may be the very thing that leads you back to Allah, because in His eyes you are not too far gone, not too broken, not too late. The door of Tawbah is always open. The mercy of Allah is always near. The invitation to rise again is never expired. Say, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves by sinning, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful. Surah Az-Zumar 39:53. What kind of love is this? a Lord who gives without asking, who forgives before we even ask, who responds to the whisper of the broken, who sees beyond our scars into the beauty He still knows exists inside us. So, if this journey has taught you anything, let it be this: you are not who the world says you are. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your social media profile or your worldly resume. You are a servant of Ar-Rahman. You are the child of dua, the result of silent sujood, the product of divine love. You are not here to impress. You are here to submit. You are not here to chase the world. You are here to return to Allah. And when that becomes your direction, your trials become fuel, your heartbreak becomes light, and your faith becomes a bridge, leading you from the chaos of this world to the calm of His presence, from trial to triumph, from distraction to devotion, from dunya to divine. This is your journey, this is your legacy. Let the dunya pass, because your destination is far more beautiful. Let the dunya shrink, because your soul was always meant to rise. Let them define you by their standards, because your standard is Jannah. Before I end, I want to make a heartfelt dua for you. Ya Allah, forgive our sins, accept our prayers, and fill our hearts with light. Ya Allah, bless our families, our health, and our wealth. Protect our children, guide our parents, and unite our hearts upon faith. Ya Allah, do not let us leave this world without your forgiveness. Allow us to taste the sweetness of dua in our lives. Grant us patience, sincerity, and trust in you, my beloved brothers and sisters. If these words touched you, then remember to share them with others. Like this message, leave a comment with your location and write the blessed name of Allah. As a remembrance, may Allah make our du'as accepted and our lives filled with His mercy. Ameen.